Hi, this is Kathy and welcome to my channel. Today we will focus on improving our shoulder mobility and strengthening our shoulders. But before we get started, a word of caution. If you're not familiar with yoga or you're not used to doing any physical activity, I'd recommend that you watch this video straight through to even see if you want to do this. If after you've seen the video and you think this is something you'd like to try, I'd take it to my doctor and see what kind of activities are appropriate for your body. If you get the go-ahead, then certainly come back and try this class with me. At the end of the video, I'm going to give you a few suggestions on how you can use this video to your best advantage. So let's get started. The props that you will need today is a mat or some kind of workspace. You can work directly on a carpet or on the floor. Some people like to use a towel, but I think towels are slippery. So a mat or something to mark your workspace is fine. Most important prop today will be a strap. Now this is a yoga strap. Maybe you have a strap or a piece of webbing that would be long enough that you could hold your arms way out separate and still be able to have enough strap to hold it. If you don't have a yoga strap, no biggie. This is from one of my robes. It's long and I can draw my hands away from each other pretty far. You might want a pants belt, and you could connect two belt buckles together and make it the length that you need. So that's the most important prop for today, is a strap of some kind. Maybe you have a yoga block, maybe not. Yoga blocks are about $4 or $5. If you don't have a yoga block, and you may not even need that for today's practice, you could use a stack of books. This is very simple for today. That's all you need, a strap or a belt of some kind, and a block or a stack of books, and your mat. If you have sensitive knees or you need to sit on something to elevate your legs, then you could do what I'm doing, which is sitting on a rolled blanket or a towel. So why don't you we'll pause the video and then you can collect your props before you get started. We'll begin by lying down on our backs. You can have your knees bent with feet flat on the floor, or you can draw your legs straight out. We're going to start with neck rolls. So, starting with your gaze at the ceiling, chin perpendicular to your neck, allow your head to be supported by the earth. Inhale, and as you exhale, slowly turn your head to one side. Then inhale to neutral, and exhale, turning your head to the other sides. Let's do that for several more sets and then return to neutral. Continuing with the head rolls, now on the exhale, when you roll your head to one side, move your chin toward your shoulder and hold for 2 breaths. Then return to neutral on the exhale and repeat on the opposite side. Now, if you don't have bent knees, go ahead and have your knees bent with feet on the mat. Do that now. Draw your one arm out to the side and stretch out and then turn your gaze to the opposite side. Do that several more times, drawing one arm out to the side and stretching, and your gaze would be looking at the opposite side. Let's do the same thing on the opposite side. You'll pull the opposite arm out straight, and then you will turn your gaze to the side and back. So draw your arm out and turn your gaze to their opposite sides. We'll do this several times. Now let's find our way over to our tabletop position. Wrists below our shoulders, knees below our hips. Place your large toes together and draw your knees out toward the long edges of the mat. And bring your arms down to your sides with your palms face up. This is child's pose. Let's take several breaths here. Then draw your arms out to the side and forward of you. This is extended child's pose, where your arms are in front of you toward the diagonal edges of the front of the mat. Several breaths here. Then walk your hands to one side. Pause and inhale long and slow, filling your lungs with air, and you're giving your one side a big stretch. Walk your hands back through neutral and go to the opposite side. And again, drawing your breath long and slow and stretching that opposite side. Then walk your hands back to neutral. From extended child's pose, find your way to a comfortable seated position. You see that I'm grabbing a blanket so I can sit, because you're going to be here for a few moments. Now grab your strap in both hands and draw your arms out shoulder height in front of you. Depending on how tight your shoulders are, you may need to adjust your arms further apart as we begin lifting both our hands above our head. Keep tension in that strap. It should not sag. Inhale and lift up. Make sure your sternum is moving up with you, and then exhale down. Continue doing this for several repetitions. Inhaling as you move up, exhaling as you move down. On our final time, lifting up, we'll do several breath cycles. And then move our strap forward. Release the strap and shake your arms out. Next, we're going to do cactus barbells. Draw your arms out in front, hands on the strap, keeping the tension on the strap, and have your hands a comfortable distance so that you can move the strap overhead and back behind you. We're going to pretend the strap is a barbell. Bend your elbows, pull the strap toward you, and then inhale, straighten your arms overhead, keeping your strap tight. Pause overhead, and you may have to adjust your grip. Exhale, bend your elbows, and bring the strap behind your body about shoulder height if you can. The strap shouldn't touch your body. This movement is similar to a bodybuilder's. Bend your elbows with the strap in front. Straighten your elbows, moving the bar ahead. Bend your elbows again so that the bar is behind your body. Take your time. Remember, if you feel pain, tingling, or numbing, slowly return to neutral. Now for a better look, as you can see, there's really about 4 steps involved in this. You bend your arms, draw them up, draw the back and then bend them back down. So next we're going to shoot the arrow. Bring your strap out in front, shoulder height, and hands on the strap wider than shoulder width apart. Next, you're going to draw your bow by bending back your right elbow like you're getting ready to shoot an arrow. Hold this position for 2 breath cycles. You can always keep tension in the strap, making sure that your front arm is following along with the strap. Return to neutral and then try this on the opposite side. Continue alternating sides, but remember to hold for 2 breath cycles on each side, then return to neutral. Let's take a pause, close our eyes, and observe our body and how our shoulders are reacting to this activity. Now find your way into downward facing dog. Taking your time, come into tabletop position. You'll want to grab your block now and keep it to the front of your mat because you might need it. From tabletop, walk your hands out in front, keeping them wider than shoulder width. Rest your forearms on the mat and try to get your chest as close to the mat as you can. Here is where you can use your block or the stack of books to rest your head on. Keep your knees in tabletop position. Remain here for several breath cycles. This is a pretty extensive stretch, so if you do experience pain, tingling, or numbing, slowly back out and return to tabletop. Next, stretch out and slide onto your belly, carefully lifting yourself up onto your elbows, keeping them shoulder width apart and your elbows slightly in front of your shoulders. Your legs should be extended straight back and should be about hip width apart. Your pelvis is resting solidly on the floor. Take several breaths here. Curl your toes under and press back into downward facing dog. And come into a comfortable seated position once again. Inhale your arms overhead, and as you exhale, turn your torso and your gaze to the right side. Take your left hand and place it on your right knee, and your right hand and place it behind your right hip. Several breaths here. Then walk into neutral. Inhale your arms overhead and turn to the left side. Several breaths here again. And then come into neutral. Thank you for joining me in this video. I hope you find it helpful. Let me know in the comments what you think. Please subscribe to my channel and come back to find other videos on these topics. I plan to do a series of very short videos on various topics. Now, you might find my stick figure notes helpful. Click on the email link below if you would like a copy of these and ask for shoulder sequence A. This would be a way of taking the sequence to your doctor and showing your doctor what we are doing in this video. It's also handy if you don't want to go online or if you want to speed up the pace. I teach at a instructional pace But once you've gone through this sequence once or twice, you should be able to do it a little quicker and maybe add more repetition. Much of the seated activity that we have done here, you could do standing and do it at a work break. Let's say if you were leaning over your computer, you might want to take a stretch in your shoulders. Just remember that if you experience any pain, numbing, or tingling, that you should stop and restart on maybe another sequence. Thank you and namaste.